Hey guys, it's Josip. Welcome to puzzle number 8. So this one also asks for data. So let's jump straight into it. Let's just try with some dummy value. Okay, so the call data size is just 1. Then we're pushing like 0, duplicating that. Then we've just copied that into memory. Here we basically append a bunch of zeros to get like 32 bytes, and we're copying something into memory. Then we also fetch the call data size, push some zeros again, and we've seen the create opcode in like puzzle number 7, so it will like use this like value from memory in order to create a new contract. So in this case, it wasn't like successful. Then we're pushing like a bunch of zeros here. And we're executing this call opcode. So call opcode, you've probably seen it in low level Solidity. It takes a bunch of stack inputs. So you need to specify the gas, the address, the account which you want to execute, value, and then from memory you kind of specify the call data of that new subcontext. So these are like the parameters you want to pass on to that execution, and then you also specify what is the place that you're going to copy the return data back. What's kind of let's say nuanced with the call is that an account with no code will return success as true. So that's why like in this Solidity you would usually like check the success, is it like true or false, but you'll also check the size of the return data, because in this case if you're calling like an account with no code, if it's successful but there is no return data, it means that probably something is wrong. So if this like execution of the call is successful, you're going to get like one back, or it's going to be like successful. Or in case the subcontext reverted, you're going to get zero back. So in our case, this will like yield a 1. Why? Because we failed here to deploy any contract. You remember that this create just returned 0, and the call, if there is no deployed like code on an address, it will just like by default just return 1. So then again we push like 0, we try to equal these two, but it returns like 0, and then we have like this 1b and 0, and we are supposed to jump to this destination 1b. But since this is a conditional jump, this is supposed to be 1 in order to jump successfully. So the objective is to make this value 1, which means, if you remember, our call like was quote unquote successful because there was no code deployed on the contract which we were executing call on. So the call needs to be unsuccessful. If you remember from here, so you need to you'd get like a 0 if the subcontext reverted. So what we have to achieve in order to solve this puzzle is we have to create a new contract on a specific address, and then we need to call into that contract, but that call needs to be unsuccessful. It needs to revert. And for me, the simplest way to do this was kind of deploy a contract which with just reverts. So if you're calling it, that's the only thing with it, what it does. Go check out the previous video on how create works, but we are supposed to, our objective is to actually just return that revert, so that single opcode, which will be the bytecode of our deployed contract. So I'm going to achieve that by first like saving a revert opcode into memory, and then like returning that revert opcode. Okay, so in order to save something into memory, we can use this mstore 8. So this is just like saving 1 byte into memory, since the revert is also like just 1 byte, so it's fd. And mstore takes like an offset, and it takes some value. So in our case, we need to kind of like push first this fd, and then push like 0. Then after that, we need to specify like 53. So let's just try it out. You see fd. So this will like push fd and a bunch of zeros into memory. Then we need to kind of basically return this. So again, we need to 1601, 1600. Then f3, this should be correct, but let's check. Yeah, you see. So it's basically returning this fd. So if this is like init code, this whole chunk is the init code for our contract, and actually the runtime code is just fd runtime code. And if you try call into this contract, no matter what you pass, it will always revert. So let's try it out. These values. Okay, so call data size. I'll just shift my face here. Call data size like 10a. We'll pushing something, writing to memory. Again, fetching the size 0. Then this a, so this is like being executed in a new sub context. Okay, so you see, in this case, we kind of successfully created the contract. Then I push like a bunch of zeros, we swap, and then we're kind of calling into this newly deployed contract. And you see, we got like 0 onto the stack, which means that we're able to call in the contract. So there is some code on the contract, but that execution reverted. Then we're like pushing 1, pushing 0, like equaling that, which is just 1. And this is like a conditional jump p. And you see, so we jump to the correct like destination. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for checking out this video, and see you in the next puzzle.